Greetings, Fright fans, and welcome into day 9 of our Halloween countdown. Number 9, that's right, number 9. Yesterday we looked at Dracula's Daughter. Some fun horror action there. Really good Universal classic that I enjoyed more this time around than I had in previous viewings. So, like I said, I may have just given it more of a chance this time or just been in the right mood. I really think it's a strong sequel. You know, I've been this year with counting down the shock package of films. I've just been in a horror host frame of mind this year. Our own horror host, Sir Cecil Creep, got his own historical marker here in the Nashville area, here in Nashville, right outside of his home. So I've been thinking about horror hosts. I've been thinking about horror hosts of Nashville in particular a lot. And that's what made me think about this shock package of films. Here in Nashville, this shock package was shown by Dr. Lucifur. I mentioned that in the first episode, who was played by Ken Bramming. He was on the air for years hosting these movies and is a true Nashville icon. Not as well remembered nowadays as Sir Cecil Creep, because most of the people that watched him, you know, a lot of them aren't still around. There are some that definitely that got to see him, but that are still here. But you know, Sir Cecil was the most popular Nashville host for sure. Both were fantastic and deserving of being remembered. So anyway, here's to you guys. And enough of my being long-winded here. We'll go ahead and get to tonight's film. Let me reach in here and see if I can pull one that both Sir Cecil and Dr. Lucifur would have shown. Let's see. At random. And I did. Pretty good chance. They both showed the Universal movies, but I'm pretty sure that Sir Cecil showed this. I know Dr. Lucifur did. This is a film that I've talked about in other countdowns, but it's one of my favorite. It stars Lon Chaney Jr., Man-Made Monster. Lon Chaney plays Dan McCormick, the lone survivor of a bus accident wherein the bus skidded into an electrical tower and all the other occupants were electrocuted. Dan had previously worked in a sideshow act at the county fair, performing as Dynamo Dan the Electric Man. He is visited in the hospital by Dr. Lawrence, played by Samuel Hines, a scientist who theorizes that Dan survived because he has built up an immunity to electricity through his act. He invites Dan to come visit at his home, where he has a private laboratory, as all good mad scientists should, and offers him a job so he can study and perhaps learn how this immunity has happened. Dan accepts and agrees to stay at the estate. Also working there is Dr. Regis, played by Lionel Atwill, who has been carrying on his own radical experiments involving electricity. He secretly desires to create a race of superior men powered through electricity, and totally under his control, naturally. He is thrilled when Dan comes to stay at the estate, and when Dr. Lawrence goes out of town on a trip, he begins experimenting on Dan, giving him ever-increasing doses of electricity until he becomes a man-made monster. Chaney is terrific in this one. He portrays Dan as a little slow-witted, perhaps channeling a touch of his Lenny role from Of Mice and Men. Atwill is perfect as the scheming and ambitious Dr. Regis, and he's quite mad, and aware of it, even admitting it multiple times throughout the film. This 1941 film was directed by George Wagner, who also directed Chaney in The Wolfman this same year. Chaney and Wagner made a total of 7 films together throughout the 30s and 40s. Also appearing in this one is Ann Nagel as Dr. Lawrence's niece and secretary, June Lawrence. This is a great film. It's fast-paced with great special effects, ridiculous mad science theories, and that terrific Universal music and production value. One of Lon's best. All right, Man-Made Monster with Lon Chaney Jr. Once again, one of my favorites. You know, there's certain names that pop up time and time again in these early Universal films. Of course, Karloff and Lugosi, but Lon Chaney Jr. and Lionel Atwill are two names that you see over and over and over again in these early films, and with good reason, because they're both fantastic. Atwill can be really menacing when they put him in a villain role, and Chaney can be such a sympathetic character. I mean, he can he plays a great victim. And once again, he's a victim in this, just like he was in The Wolfman in Man-Made Monster. He does a great job playing kind of a slow-witted character here in this one. Dynamo Dan's not the brightest character for sure. We're going to give this one 4.5 skulls. Really strong entry. It's nearly a perfect movie for me. I think it's great. I just love how fast-paced it is. Short movie, 1 hour long. I think it could be the perfect length for a horror movie, to be honest with you. I wish that they made movies right at an hour and 10 minutes nowadays. Still, I think that is perfect for me. So anyway, 4.5 skulls, Man-Made Monster. We've talked about it several times here in the lab. Can't get enough of it. Let me know what you guys think about the electrically charged Dynamo Dan and Man-Made Monster. And be sure and join me back here tomorrow night. Until then, stay mad.
Sometimes I think you're mad. I am.